Hi, thanks for joining me. It's Kerry from Crafty Can, your independent cankaszazz consultant. And tonight I thought we'd do up, well, I was inspired by my cousin when she visited over the weekend, Beck. We were talking about different techniques, different backgrounds, different styles, and she wanted something that was tie-dye. At the time I couldn't think of a thing that, apart from the watercolour pencils and a little bit of blending and yeah, but I couldn't actually think of anything else. And then this morning it hit me, and voila, the tie-dye background, which is done using distress ink pads directly to your cardstock or paper. In this case we use paper. I am so hoping my focus is actually working for me now. The one I did earlier, it was so out of focus it wasn't funny, so take two. So that's the card that was inspired by Beck. Now I've got my little multi-level butterfly on there as well. There's actually 4 butterflies because if you lift the wing you get the pretty pattern. I don't know if you can actually see that, but I know it's there, and whoever gets this card will know it's there as well. So that one I did up this morning using Wilted Violet Distress ink and the Picked Raspberry Distressed ink. And a bit earlier this evening when I was doing version 1, which was so out of focus, I made this one up. So it does have that tie-dye, hippie, retro feel looking to it. This is still a little bit damp actually. And this was using these 2 colours, the Spiced Marmalade and the Peacock Feathers. And then another one that I was doing as well, which is the Picked Raspberry with the Peacock Feathers. So again, you can see that very blurry effect. It actually even comes through in the back a little bit. So they make great backgrounds, great matting for photos. Just to add a little bit of different effect there. They're still a bit damp, so I'll leave those to dry overnight. Always a great idea if you can. And they will dry with the heat gun. It is really loud though, and everybody probably thinks you're drying your hair a little bit too much when you're using them. But let's get down to the fun part now. So I'm going to use again the Peacock Feathers and the Spiced Marmalade. I've actually got some paper here, which is the plain cardstock from our moment by moment card decks. And we have the summer, autumn, winter and spring card decks. They're all this size, which is perfect for your card fronts, great for your scrapbooking, great for your 6x4 photos. And this is just the perfect weight without being too stiff to actually do this technique. So start off by scrunching everything up. Da da da, da da da. Anybody who knows me, come to my classes and workshops, knows that if it's messy and it's fun, I'm there. This is kind of a little bit of that scale. So pull it out. You can flatten this. When I saw the video by Tim Holtz for doing the same technique, he actually used a craft iron to flatten it out a little bit. If you don't have a craft iron, like myself, I don't, the other way to do it is just some baking paper over your card and then just a very, very cool iron over the top. So I might start off with the Spiced Marmalade tonight. Now the distress inks are all designed by Tim Holtz to react with water, which is how we get our little fuzzy effects. They are nicely raised. You have this little lip and gutter on your ink pad, and that makes it absolutely dreamy to use. I like moving my paper around. It saves me moving around and getting my arms in the way, and the last thing you want to see is my canteen arms, trust me. So smear that on. Doesn't matter if you get a little bit on your craft mat, that's all going to get cleared up in a minute. Put your lid back on. That is one thing I've picked up from my mother, an absolute loathing for people when people leave the lids off their inks. And now all we need to do, oops, I'll move that back up there on screen, is use our little mister bottle with just, I've got standard everyday tap water in here, and we get to have some fun. This is where the mess starts coming into play. Spritz, spritz, spritz. I like to oversaturate. Why do a little when you can do a lot? Sometimes though, that's not always the best course of action, so oopsies, just don't tell my mother. Now it doesn't matter if it goes onto your craft mat because, pardon the rip, there we go. You can just clean that up with your paper towel. And again, you can already see that is starting to react with the water and get all blurry and fuzzy, and we're all getting warm, fuzzy feelings. There you go. You can hopefully see some of that water actually pooling. But you can certainly see where it's faded, it's fuzzed out, and it's all deliberate. And just mop up a little bit extra. Ooh, getting a fair bit of colour through on there too. I loved the spiced marmalade. It's just nice and bright and fun and summery. Now I'll just very quickly unwrinkle that there, give it a quick whirl on the heat tool, and I am going to apologise already for the noise. It is loud, can't do much about that, I'm sorry. How have I been? I've been rather entertaining. Tomorrow my Winter Wonderland stamps show up, hopefully. So very excited, which is why I'm getting all these done now, so I can actually have some fun tomorrow without the guilt trip. Okay, it's dry enough. You can always re-wrinkle it, or just gently. Gently and patience are two words that really don't go hand in hand with me. Scrunch it up a fraction again. Hello peaks and valleys. Now I'm going to get the peacock feathers and just go over the top. Over the top letters. Just to give that contrast. And certainly on our colour wheels, the pink and the blue, they're not complementary colours. I think they're the opposites. The contrast, again, spritz. Da, 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 da. And you can actually see both colours are now reacting with that water and getting, let's see if I can zoom in. Drunk. Sorry, you're going to get a little bit drunk with me. Or a little bit seasick. But hopefully you can see, apart from my big fat hands, how that is reacting with the water. So I'm going to leave that to dry overnight, and tomorrow I will be able to have a bit of a play with our new stamps and hopefully use that as one of my backgrounds to give it a little bit of extra oomph. So hope you liked that. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'm now going to go and pop this up on my blog. So if you'd like to read more and then see the finished result, certainly go over and read the Crafty Cans blog, and that will certainly put everything in a little bit more detail and explain a little bit more of the wonderful world of Crafty Can. Alrighty, bye for now. Have fun.